Hello, and welcome to another Grateful for Gretchen episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I've lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for over 7 years. I am a Tiny Habit certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach, and I am gratefully here with my husband,
Donald Weigel, and I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for coming up on 7 years, and we are here to talk about it. I'm also grateful for Gretchen.
Grateful for Gretchen. It sounds like a great ad campaign.
We're burning for bargains and grateful for Gretchen.
You know, or actually, not you know. I have never asked you, did you ever run for any kind of office when you were in any school situation?
No, I didn't run for anything. Did you?
No. I didn't. I was not that kind of folk. I don't think. I'm not a joiner so much. But I did find out that when I was older that I like being voluntold to do things.
Oh, yeah.
I was voluntold to do many things, and I didn't have very great boundaries. So I said, okay, and then I was mad about it.
Wait, so you liked to be voluntold, or you just sort of did it?
I just sort of did it. I felt bad about not doing it, but then I liked doing it when I did it. It was nice to be a part of a team and a group and stuff like that. And
yeah.
Except for the working hard at things part. That was not what I wanted. Yeah. I wanted to be, where is my, what do they call it? A puppet government or I can't remember.
Shadow government?
No, the one where that doesn't do anything. I want the title without.
You want to be a figurehead?
Figurehead, yeah. I just want to be a figurehead that's that I can be on posters and stuff. But I don't actually want to do the stuff because it's hard. I don't know why. I know we've talked.
This is not super motivating for people who are trying to listen to this and get advice on how to make things happen.
So we watched this show Succession, which was basically about sort of 3.5 kids, adult kids wanting their dad's job.
Yes.
Who wants that? They're billionaires. They're billionaires.
Yeah, they're already billionaires. They already have all the money they could ever spend, but they all want to run the company. I will say, this is on a side note, I feel like Succession is a top probably 15 or 20 of all-time show on my list.
I agree.
It's pretty amazing. If you haven't watched it, it's on Max. Not a sponsor.
Yeah, but their level of ambition is the opposite of mine. If I had 3 ambitious siblings that were why don't you take $1 billion and sit down? I would say, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
I'm happy to take a back seat and just go on vacations for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so I would be maybe in the first episode, kind of like on Happy Days when Richie had an older brother.
Oh, yeah, and
that
then he disappeared.
All know was named
Chuck.
Yeah. And then he was gone. And I would like to be a first episode brother with $1 million, $1 billion. I would be the black sheep that would be laughing with a Mai Tai on a beach while the other suckers were doing the hard stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. But who needs all of that backstabbing?
But speaking of hard work.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff, we are grateful for Gretchen Rubin and her book Better Than Before.
Absolutely.
Where she taught me single-handedly that I was responsible for my life and for making my own habits and making things work. And we, in the last 3 weeks, have exploited her book by talking about other habits. We've shared her experiences, and this episode is going to bring it home with her final strategies for habit formation.
Yeah, she has a list on her website, which I will link to in the show notes, of 21 strategies for habit formation. And I think Gretchen Rubin is one of those people who's never had a weight problem, but she does understand a lot about forming habits. And so we are taking her list of 21 items and we are relating them specifically to weight loss, health, and fitness. And we did, oh my goodness, I'm trying to do the math real quick. We did the first 13 in the last 2 episodes, and we are going to finish it off with the final 8 this week.
We are. And just as, as we're, all the jokes are over, everyone, now we're going to get serious. When have you in your life just thought like, I know it all. I've got all the information I need.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need any more mindset changes. I've got it all figured out. I think one of the most important changes that I have made in this joint venture is realizing that there is always some other angle to approach our health goals. And when we sit back and are like, I did it, I'm done, I know it all, that is like a very dangerous thing to think, that you've got it all sorted, because a lot of these, even as we're reading them, I feel kind of attacked and inspired. Attack-spired.
That's right.
When you enjoy being attacked. But it's important to reframe and take the time to investigate. So we are going to finish it up today. Thank you very much. Grateful for Gretchen. Here we go with number 1 or 14, depending on Donald's math.
Depending on my math. And just real quick before you dive in, one of the good things about there being 21 of these is you don't have to try all of them, but listen for ones that resonate with you and try those strategies to get a habit that you want to have going.
Yep. So the first one we're going to talk about today, which is multi-part, is loophole spotting. We have done full episodes. We've gotten Loopholier Than Thou. I can't remember the other names of the episodes.
I think we called one Loop There It Is.
Loop There It Is.
Yeah.
Lots of episodes on loopholes. So we're just going to run through them quickly right now. But we often seek justification to excuse ourselves from good habits. Just this once. By identifying loopholes we most often invoke, we can guard against them. And it's often easy to see other people's loopholes and roll our eyes and be like, oh, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
But we also do it ourselves.
Yeah, the loophole is a nice way of saying a lie. Like you're lying to yourself. And these are the ways in which we oftentimes do it.
Yep, and a nicer way is justify. So the mean way is lie. The medium way is justify.
We justify our actions so we feel better about our choices.
Okay, so the first few are the false choice loophole. I can't do this because I'm busy doing that. I can't eat a salad because it's the holiday season. That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Okay, the next one is moral licensing. I've been so good. It's okay for me to do it just this one time.
Yeah.
The next one is the tomorrow loophole. It's okay to skip today because I'm going to do it tomorrow. For some reason, tomorrow, our magical tomorrow selves are imbued with great strategies and discipline and motivation. The tomorrow self is the perfect self, but that tomorrow never comes.
Yeah, but as Annie said, tomorrow is only a day away. But the problem is it's always a day away.
Exactly. The next one is the lack of control. I just can't help myself. This was the way I was born. I'm Polish. What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Everything is working against me. I cannot help myself. It's actually, I will not help myself. Burn, face, lie. That one deserves the lie, not the justify. And then the last one is the planning to fail loophole. I'm doing this for no particular reason, but now I'm here, I can't resist. So again, that planning to fail is, I go shopping, all the grocery shopping on Saturday. I run all the errands, but I'm not going to eat before I leave the house because I'm too busy. Oh my gosh, an hour into it, I'm exhausted and lightheaded and hungry. What a surprise to me. Oh, look, there's a donut shop right next to the Costco. I'm just going to go get a donut. What else am I supposed to do? I'm a victim of circumstance. We have done episodes 365 surprises, 366 surprises, all about that planning to fail. Every day is a shocking surprise. How am I 50 years old and I'm still surprised that I'm hungry on a Saturday? You know what? I'm going to take back everything I said. This is all a bunch of lies. Stop saying justify. You should cut that out of the episode. All of these are lying lies that we tell ourselves.
Yeah, look, I think that the reason I say it that way is one of the real, breakthroughs for me was realizing how much I was lying to myself and recognizing that I was lying to myself made it much easier for me to stop doing it. Now, that doesn't mean that I always, have pristine habits. but it's much harder for me to fool myself when I am invoking one of these.
Well, and I think that recognizing these, it is eye-opening, and it also gives us the opportunity to just step back and be like, oh, these are the thoughts that I have, and they are not serving me. And when you recognize it and stop being a victim of your life and start being a champion, that's where the real change comes from. Donald is going to finish up with the final loophole.
Yeah, I know you said that was the last one, but there's 5 more. So the next one is the "this doesn't count" loophole, where you say to yourself, "It's a holiday, so this doesn't count."
The holidays are coming.
Yeah, like I'm on vacation, so this doesn't count. The questionable assumption loophole. You say, "I'm so far behind, there's no point in even starting."
All right, everybody, listen up. Thanksgiving hasn't even happened yet if you're listening to this. There are 6 weeks left in 2024. Don't you dare say that there just isn't time this year to get something done. You can do something good for yourself every single day.
Absolutely. The next one is the concern for others loophole. If I don't do this, someone will be hurt or inconvenienced. And in our case, this is usually if I don't eat the food that the person brought, or I can't turn down their invitation to an indulgent lunch, or if I'm the only one not eating the cake, then it'll make other people feel bad about things.
Or I can't go on a walk because I'm visiting my family, and that would be rude. Or I can't do an exercise routine in the morning while everybody else is getting dressed because that would inconvenience them. Like when we blame everyone else, we don't take accountability for ourselves.
Yeah, when we do it in the form of like I'm trying not to hurt somebody else's feelings, it can be a real problem. And my favorite, which is weird, having a favorite lie, is the one coin loophole, where you say, what difference will this one action make? And it's called the one coin loophole because the idea is like, well, what difference does one coin make? Like if I spend it, but if you keep spending and spending and spending one coin, or the reverse, if you save and save and save one coin, eventually you would be rich. So really realizing that every single action, no matter how small, does make a difference. And if you keep doing them, then it builds up over time and eventually really adds up to something important.
It really does. Ooh, and the next one is my favorite one.
Oh, your favorite one?
My favorite one.
My favorite is the one coin. So,
t-shirt.
Catherine's favorite is the fake self-actualization loophole.
YOLO!
Yes, you only live once loophole. I better take advantage of doing this now because the opportunity will never come again. There will never be pumpkin spice things available to eat again, for example, or I'll never have a chance to eat this particular thing, or I'll never have a chance to sit on this particular couch again for some reason, rather than exercise. But telling yourself that you have, only this opportunity or only a limited number of opportunities to indulge in something is a lie that we tell ourselves.
Well, and I think the big thing about it is that it feels like we're suddenly enlightened. Like we've got this, like, I only live once. Like I'm going to go to the smorgasbord and get every single thing because I'm never going to have that chance again. Like, wow, I'm really living my best life. And that first bite is like, yes, this is the best life. And then at 2:00 in the morning, when you wake up with heartburn and regret and you're up on the scale and you're bloated, then you're like, why did I think that was a great idea? But we, in the moment, love justifying it, acting like we're living our best lives, when really that's just stinking thinking. It's short. It's that short term, right, id part of your brain that wants immediate dopamine and satisfaction and avoids your long-term goals. So there are ways to have a little bit, enjoy it. We've done episodes on that, but you don't have to just blow it all on this one perfect moment in time because it's not perfect. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Okay. So I know that seemed like a lot of strategies, but that was really just one. Okay.
Yeah. So spot it.
So what is the next one, dear?
Okay. So the next one is distraction. When we focus on the negative, if we're just like, I can't eat that chocolate cookie. I can't eat that cookie. I can't eat that cookie. When we focus on it, all you're going to do is you're going to eat the cookie. distracting yourself by saying like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go take a 5-minute walk away from the cookie. That is a better strategy. Scientists have actually done studies where people who distract themselves from a temptation do much better than the people who just stare at the temptation. So if you are tempted by a delightful couch with a cozy blanket and all this candy right in front of you, like distract yourself by doing something active.
Yeah, don't just stand in front of it and stare at the couch.
Right. But the same thing of like, oh my gosh, every time I go into the break room, there's, stuff everywhere. Like if you know that there is a temptation, go away from it. We talked about it in the last episode. Make it inconvenient to participate in the unhealthy thing by focusing on the healthy thing.
Yeah, if you put all of your delicious snacks at eye level every time you go into the kitchen, you're just going to keep seeing them, and eventually, willpower breaks down because it's fleeting and largely imaginary.
Yeah.
Okay, another strategy is reward, and this is the idea that you promise yourself some sort of reward for completing an action, but reward actually can undermine habit formation. So realizing that the best reward is for a good habit is the good habit itself.
That seems like some bummer thing you'd learn in Sunday school. Like, the real ship.
Look,
was
I was trying to put a
positive.
a positive on it. Yeah.
Well, but Gretchen Rubin, I actually listened to an episode of her podcast where she talked about how rewards can sabotage our goals because we can often and this is something that I've learned over time for sure is, okay, I will buy myself a new Coach purse when I hit my goal weight.
Yeah.
Right. And that is like, oh, well, that's the reward. Like, I'm going to reward myself. But then things get tough and then it's the holiday season and you're like, well, you know what? I don't really want that purse. That's not really, never mind. I don't want that. And that actually has happened to me before where I move the goalpost and then I'm like, I don't really care if I get that or not. Or, well, $10 for an A in school. I don't really care about the $10. I can get it other ways. When we think that there is some magical carrot that is going to get us to do the thing,
right?
We're forgetting that it's really important to focus on my health because my health is the reward. That is actually the important part. So rewards can be both, for some, maybe it's super motivating to have a reward. But for many, when we decide I don't really care about the reward, then suddenly we don't care about the habit. And that's that you're going about it the wrong way.
If you offer me a carrot as a reward.
Oh my gosh.
That's not going to get me to do much.
There was a podcast. There's one of the guys on Saturday Night Live was talking about the carrot conspiracy, where he's like, I'm making a soup that requires 1 carrot, but they're sold in a bushel. And now he's like, now I've got to make 8 carrot forward dishes. Why can I not just buy a single carrot? But he actually
carrot forward.
He actually said carrot forward. And I was like, that is super fun. But I do that with who needs a bucket of celery? Come on, people. Why can't I just buy 1 little stick of celery?
I don't what are they supposed to do though? Carrots you could sell individually, theoretically, but what are you supposed to do with celery? Because that's how it's grown. It comes like that.
I know, but don't you think, speaking of making goals smaller?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you maybe sell more celery if you sold them by the stick?
Yeah, maybe.
Instead of by the word. Because come on now.
I haven't run all the numbers on the celery sales.
Well, get on it. It's very important. Okay, so the next one is speaking of celery, because celery is not one of these. The next one is the habit of the treat. Unlike a reward, which must be earned or justified, a treat is a small pleasure or indulgence that we give ourselves just because we want it. It's easier to ask more of ourselves when we're giving more to ourselves. So identify plenty of healthy treats. So again, we do a lot of pairing. I did pairing the other day. right in front of everybody's faces, I paired the treat of a bagel with going to the doctor's office. So I didn't deserve it. It wasn't after I lose 5 pounds, then I get a bagel. It was just a treat that I indulged in public on a lovely fall afternoon. So a treat is something that is always, it's deserved. It's just worked into your plan. It's not, based on your value as a good person or a bad person. It's just there for you.
And you just mentioned it, but the next one is pairing. And we have done a few episodes about this. One of them was called Pairing is Caring.
Yep.
And the idea is that you only engage, you make a policy for yourself that you only engage in a particular, indulgent treat when a particular thing happens. So, something that happens infrequently, like an oil change or a haircut or a dentist appointment, something like that, which you're going to do, but it's maybe only every 6 months or every 3 months or every 4 months. And you decide that, okay, that's the day I'm going to have the Burger King onion rings, or that's the day I'm going to have the KFC, whatever. Or, that's when I'm going to have my bagel with all of the stuff on it that I like that kind of a thing.
And I love it. Donald doesn't like bagels, and he was just like, like when you get bagels with stuff on it.
Yeah, no, bagels, not mine.
You're like choking it out.
Well, I know that's one thing that you do,
bagels
so I was trying
stuff on it.
I like to try to relate to people who enjoy normal things like bagels.
But I'm gonna go the other way with pairing and say that when you pair something you want with something that's maybe a little less savory, that's great too. So I only listen to the podcast when I go out on a walk. So it's kind of that extra incentive to, I'm looking forward to it because then I get to X. So when you can pair like watching TV with rebounding, like that is a great way to get off of the couch and into some movement. So
yeah.
For us, that pairing is a great way to incentivize something that's maybe less interesting to do. Okay, so the next one is clarity. That is so critical. A lot of times, especially in tiny habits, we talk about having an aspiration. I want to be healthy. Like, right. You proclaim, like, what is healthy? Is healthy eating more vegetables? Is healthy losing weight? Like, what is the actual goal? And the more specific you can make your goal, the more likely you are to achieve it. So, for example, like, I want to read more. Like, I want to read. Okay, well, what is your goal? Well, I'd like to read 1 book a month. Like, that is a specific goal. Okay, well, when are you going to read?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to read every night before bed, and I'm going to read at lunchtime. Those are measurable and attainable goals. Not just like, well, are you satisfied with reading? I don't know. I don't really have. Do you feel healthy? Like, I guess, like, I don't know. So the more specific you can be, like, I am going to work in vegetables to 1 meal a day. The aspiration is kind of the end sort of goal, but the actual habits we put in place are what get us there. So I want to be more flexible. And so I will do 5 minutes of yoga every day. I want to have more stamina, so I walk the stairs at work every day instead of taking the elevator. Those are specific. You have clarity on your purpose, not just a general like, how do you feel today? It's more about being able to measure it. Wow, I took the stairs 25 times this week.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. Like, that is specific rather than just generalized. So.
Yeah, much harder to take a specific action when you say, I want to eat healthier, rather than I'm going to add vegetables to this amount of meals. I'm going to eat this, amount of fruit. And you have to drill it down. Like, so how are you going to do that? When are you going to do that? And the more specific you can make it, the more likely you are to actually form that habit.
Well, and I think in the end with this too, other people's understanding or their expectation of what healthy means could be very different than yours. For example, and I mentioned this the other day in Wolt Place, our accountability group, We Only Look in Place on Facebook, is I had planned Like, for clarity's sake, I had planned my calorie goal for a day. I went to an ice cream and sandwich shop with a friend and her mom. I had the calories tracked out. I knew exactly what I was going to have. It was totally planned. And the mother, when I ordered the scoop of ice cream, said, well, you better not be eating dinner tonight. And like, for her, healthy meant something totally different. Like, I was on plan. I knew what I was doing. It was a treat that I had planned for. I felt great. And recognizing that not everybody sees it the same way is important. And for me to know, like, hey, this is planned. I'm working this into my budget, and I don't need to live up to someone else's expectation of what healthy means. I was doing it for myself, and it really felt good to be able to not have to justify it to myself, but know that I was making the right choice for me.
Well, and that's a good lead into our next one, which is other people.
Uh-oh.
Instead of hanging out with your friend and her stinky mom, instead hang out with people
Language, Donald.
who follow the habits that you want to adopt, because your habits rub off on other people and their habits rub off on you.
That is huge. That is huge.
Yeah. So, this can be a whole can of worms that is difficult to get around, but we're not saying necessarily cut everyone out of your life who encourages you to engage in habits that you don't want to do, but seek out others who are trying to engage in the habits that you do want to do. Join a club, join a class, join something like Wolt Place even, people who are trying to foster good habits in order to lose weight, be healthier.
Yeah, because we become like the people we surround ourselves with. So if you are in a group that overindulges every weekend and goes out drinking every night, or spends lots of money, like everything is money based.
Yeah.
Or, every Sunday is, baking and treats and snacks and stuff like that. When we're around people who bring us, calorically down, like, we're going to become like them. So setting yourself up for success means seeing what other people are doing that are supporting their goals. So like Donald said, join a walking club, take a class, be around people who inspire you to move you forward rather than pull you down. So maybe spend a little less time with the people who are like, come on, have another drink, have another thing. Like, because it's like, that temptation is real. So find people who want to be like you. Wolt Place. We only look in place. We'll talk about it
exactly.
in a little bit.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're finally there. The 21st out of 21 habit formation strategies.
The 21st out of 21?
Yeah.
It's the 21st out of 21. I don't know. It's just so fun.
How would you say it?
The final 21, the big one, the big kahuna.
All right.
Okay, so sorry. Here we go.
Notes taken.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not nice, but you already knew that. Okay. So speaking of identity, the last one, the 21st, is your identity. Your habits reflect your identity. So if you struggle to change a particular habit, think about your identity. Every identity, an athlete, an artist, an environmentalist, a reliable parent, a strong leader, a reader, carries a certain habit with it. So to become a runner, you start running. You buy running magazines. You watch videos. You take a class. You get a trainer. You become the kind of person you want to be by doing the things that person does. If you identify as a couch potato and you're like, well, there's nothing I can do to change it, it's the way I am, you are going to manifest that. Please know that when I started this last time journey venture, I didn't start day one going, I am an active person with boundaries and blah. Like, I didn't have this big giant speech. All I wanted was to fit into pants. Like, I am a person who fits into pants. That was my hopeful identity.
I identify as someone who has pants that fit. Yes.
Right. So identity came a little bit later. So at first it can seem like that, I shouldn't say shallow, but kind of on the surface, I wanted to lose weight. When we go a little bit deeper, what I wanted was a better relationship with food, a better relationship with my boundaries and my priorities, more agency in my life. And that developed over time. But when we start looking at that bigger picture of the kind of person you want to be, like what kind of person loses 50 pounds? What kind of person has more agency in their lives? What habits do they have? What boundaries do they set? When we go deeper, and that's why like so much of this podcast has turned into more mindset work, is because our mindset is everything.
Yeah.
Sure, there are quick ways to drop weight, like, and you know, for your heavyweight fighting championship with boxing, sure, you could do that quick and easy.
Yes.
But when
Sure, you could.
Sure, we all could. We could all be heavyweight championships, because a championship is a person.
Right.
Anyway, but when we start looking at our bigger purpose, the kind of person we're becoming, the more we can live into that. Instead of the person who is up at 11:55 at night trying to hit her step goal so that she can hit her activity points or whatever, I'm the kind of person who works in activity throughout my day. If I forget to wear my Fitbit, I'm still going for a walk. Like, and there was in the past, I'd be like, hey, Donald, go get my Fitbit off the charger. I'm not taking a step without it.
I'm not moving till I have it on.
Which that is funny, but that is not like the spirit of activity. I am an active person. Some days I'm going to hit my goals. Some days I'm not. Sometimes I'm going to exceed my goals. I am a person who is able to pivot and be flexible, both in my habits, in like my day-to-day routines. I come up with backup plans. I recognize the loopholes that I'm invoking. I look forward. Like and Donald and I are both, we are not pillars of health 24/7, like Zeus and the lightning bolts he has every day with his Zeusiness.
That's right. Zeus and the Lightning Bolts was a great rock band too, back in the 50s.
So great. Yeah. But my old identity was, I'm too old. There's no hope for me. I can't do it. I can't stick to a plan. It's like there's nothing I can do. Everything is against me. I lived into that identity as a victim, as like a put upon person, as someone who it was just never going to happen. Recognizing that we have the opportunity to change our habits over time, to put, aside all of those loopholes that get in our way, to make small, sustainable habit changes. That change is possible. If we can do it in our 40s, when it was just like, nope, it's too late. That's what it is. Recognizing that we still have changes that we can make. We are still fostering and growing our identities. And we know that if we can do it, you can do it too. So look at all of these methods for habit change. What can you focus on? For me, and again, at my core, the identity focus, who am I working on becoming? What would that person do? Focusing on that is really critical. And again, we know that if we can learn from the delightful and lovely Gretchen Rubin, we know that you can too.
Absolutely. And please continue to identify as someone who listens to We Only Look Thin. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we're grateful that you took some time out to listen to this episode. We have a whole lot more episodes available wherever you found this one. We are available on all of the major podcast platforms, the most recent 300 episodes. And if you would like to go back and listen from the beginning all the way to episode 1, you can do that on YouTube or on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep. And if you are at weonlylookthin.com, click on that link for join our support group to find out more about Wolt Place. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I have a questionable assumption. I'm so far behind. I have not been in the group before. Why should I start now?
Right.
Start right now. It'd be super fun to have you. I would love to see you there. We have a Facebook-based accountability group called Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place. It is not a place for a specific plan. I'm not going to boss you around and tell you what to do. Unlike poor Donald, which I feel like I tell him what to do all the time. Don't be like my marriage.
No, I get bossed around and told what to do for no charge.
But look at all like the freedom that it gives you to think about like other things like fantasy football. Like, could you be on as many fantasy football leagues if You weren't
if
told
I had
what
to
to
if
do.
I had to think for myself.
No, Donald, you could not. Just like, okay, so
Exactly.
I'm not bossy on Wool Place. It's totally different.
Yeah.
We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wool Place is right for you. I do weekly Zoom meetings. We have subgroups. We've got great conversations. It's a very supportive community. Like our daughter at one point was like, do you need me to be an admin so that I can throw people out if they're rude? I'm like, everybody is super nice.
Yeah,
like there is no admin craziness required. Everyone is nice and supportive. So join Wool Place, check us out, get in that accountability. I identify as someone who loves Wool Place, and I think you will identify as someone who loves Wool Place also.
I do as well. Or you can also interact with us, or you could do both. You could join Wool Place and interact with us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at We Only Look Thin. Or you could also email us if you would like to give us an episode suggestion, if you have a question, if you just like to give us a shout out, say hello, give us a compliment. If there is a strategy for habit formation that we didn't cover and you would like to talk about that, you can do all of those things by emailing us to weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you have a couple of extra minutes, head over to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it let us know that what we're doing after all of these years is still connecting with new listeners, but it also helps new listeners find our podcast when they're looking for Cool Beans podcasts like ours. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to read
another review.
Yep. Let's see. Pineapple Runner 83.
Oh, I like that.
Pineapple, probably pre-diced pineapple.
Yeah.
She didn't make her own pineapple.
Right.
That's you can't grow your own pineapples.
I know I don't.
They don't grow in this climate.
That's right.
Okay, so Pineapple Runner 83 says, wonderful podcast. 5 stars. Thank you very much. I love how real this podcast is for folks who struggle with their weight. They are honest about how hard it can be to lose and maintain, but also motivating and inspiring. No toxic positivity here. That's dang and doodle right, everybody. It's flip-a-doodling hard. We talk about it, and now you know it also. But thank you, Pineapple Runner 83. Really, it honestly, I know I'm full of snark, but I'm also full of gratitude for everyone who leaves us a rating and a review. So thank you so much for doing so.
Absolutely. And also, another way you could help us out is just tell somebody about the show. If you know somebody who might get something out of it, and you tell them about us, it really does help the show grow. Word of mouth is one of the most effective ways to get the word out, so to speak. Or if you are on the interweb, if you are in a Discord server, a subreddit, or if you are on a Facebook group, and it is appropriate to give us a shout out, we would be grateful. It really does help the show grow.
Yep.
So if you went straight to Amazon looking for a cookbook with carrot forward recipes, instead, please remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration.
I'm pretty sure Bugs Bunny would totally look for carrot forward recipes.
100%.
Like he always bastes them and acts like with the green thing at the end.
No, he made them look so good.
Oh my gosh, very appetizing.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.